Hi guys. So is the bull market over? You know, as the saying, say something, bull market, I'm giving up on you. The market's clearly dumping and dumping hard, and there is scenarios where there's a lot of hopium still floating about. So let's have a look at some of that hopium real quick. So what I want to do is I want to talk to this specific setup, you know, where, well, unfortunately for you, 125 isn't the top, you know, that kind of thing. And the reality is, I don't know, you don't know either. But what I want to share with you guys is my setup and the invalidation levels that needs to either hold for there to be more Bitcoin upside, or need to be lost if you want to be a bear for more downside. And also why I am gonna go long at these levels, because it is not for me to try and be right. It's for me to try and make money regardless. That's the goal here, guys. So if you're keen on making money regardless, I want to be right, I want to make money regardless, give me a triple. What's the number there, Peter? 675. What do you think needs to be? Give me a triple something. Peter will throw it there in the comments, and then give me that. Okay, let's see. While that happens, good morning, Andre, Altec Codes, and Jerry. And then here's a new name, Bledur Marastat. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it. Good morning to you, my friend. I will read it. Hope you had an awesome day. Let's quickly get into the charts. You know what to do. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and share the video with a friend. There we go. Okay, so I just closed my Bitcoin short on Prime. Fucking idiot. Okay, so I'm kind of pissed off at myself. Now, I made good gains on this, so I'm more than happy. Never say, you know, as the saying goes, you don't go broke taking profit, but you do go broke if you take profit too soon, because then your risk to reward ratio is not in favor. So this is being TP1, and us being at 100K is a psychological level. So let's have a look at that real quick. Now, to look at that, we need to take a slight detour, a little rewind, if I would say, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page here. The rule was, if you have a liquidation, we do get this. When Bitcoin, and any coin for that matter, starts getting range bound, orders start piling up and people start betting on whether it's going to go up or down. So a kangaroo market is typically what is needed for something to get liquidated, or someone to get liquidated. And Bitcoin sitting at 118 and 6-7 months later still fighting that level qualifies as a kangaroo market. It's sideways. It did it there as well. It did it there as well. And then you get these massive liquidations. The key to this, though, is when you have a liquidation is to look at the next candle. Now, this is weekly time frame, which means you need to sit on your hands for an entire week. It can be hard. Doing nothing is the hardest trade to do. But then what follows is the trick or the key to what you can expect going forward. When you do have a liquidation event like we had here, and price closes strong thereafter, meaning we don't trade in the wick for the next week, the week thereafter. Typically, it's a buy the dip liquidation event, which means when you move into that wick, that liquidation wick, 50% of that wick would be your buy zone. There you have it. When you have a liquidation event, but price trades in the wick for the next candle, typically it's a warning sign. It means that it's going to fill that wick and some, which is what happened there. Now, it's coincidental that the previous two liquidation events is either an option A, meaning buy the dip, or an option B, expect lower low. It's just coincidental, but it makes it easy for me to explain this to you. Now, what happened was when we had the wick, I said to you guys, let's wait a week and see what happened after the liquidation event. And we closed and traded within the wick. So what is happening? The odds means that price is going to what? Fill the wick and some. And it's the and some that at this stage is a very big unknown, because we're at a critical support level. Now, the way that I'm going to mark out these levels, I'm going to go to the daily time frame for you guys before we're going to look at the 4-hour time frame. It's very simple. When we have dreams of grandeur, saying we want this, I want this to be true. I want price to go to 150. What needs to happen, or what cannot happen, is the following. When you have an Elliott wave impulse, like marked out here, meaning there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and now you're hoping for 5, that's going to take you to 150. What cannot happen is the following. Your 4 cannot overlap your 1. So it means we can't go and visit 93, 98, not 89, sorry, excuse me, 93, 89, 67, whatever the case might be, and still dream that this is the potential, because then this is no longer an impulse. And even if we do go and make that higher high, it's going to be short-lived, quickly, and over and done. So you would want to trade this. You wouldn't want to invest this, because the gains that's going to be coming is not going to be long-term locked-in gains, meaning it's like buying Ethereum at $100 where you are now, you're pretty safe that that's locked in. But buying Ethereum at $4,000, now you're underwater, and the potential is we can still go down much lower. So that's that long-term locked-in gain. So you're not going to expect long-term locked-in gains. So the level that needs to hold for Bitcoin, in order for us to say and humor the notion that 150 is on the table and this is just another shakeout and another dip and we're going to move on, is where we're at right now, 105. You don't want to lose that level. Switch to the line tool on the chart and just draw a simple line. We need to close and reclaim 106 by the end of this week, or alternatively 2 weeks from now, because a level, when it's lost, you will have an entire candle open and close below that level. Typically, that gives you the highest probability that that level is lost. So when it wicks through, it's not lost. And when it closes above it again, say we close where we're at right now, and the end of next week we close above 105, it's not quite lost yet. But once we have an entire week there, that's typically when you have your level lost. So that's the hopium line. 105 thereabout is your hopium line. So if you want to be this guy, nothing wrong with that. I'm going to trade that. 105 by the end of the week would be the best bet that becomes a reality. Okay. So in order for that then to happen, what needs to happen now is that we need to switch to the 4-hour time frame. Let me bring up the 4-hour. I would want to see on the 4-hour time frame something bullish. That's what I need. Now, what we have at the moment is nothing bullish. We've got a lower low in price. We've got a lower low on the RSI. There's harmony in the market. Doesn't mean that there isn't upside, because 100 has got, from an auction theory point of view, some good probabilities for a bounce. And the reason I'm saying that, to add confluence to that, is the fact that if you look at the liquidation maps, everybody that is trading, that's got money, that wants to trade, is now switching to the bear side. So there is that potential that the market needs to take that liquidity off the table before we move on. Okay, that's it. Okay, I wish I could just squeeze this over. Maybe I need to just do this. Charts, no camera. There you can see the entire move. Okay, so you've got this happening right now, where if we look at this, the liquidity for short traders, it starts at around 108. It starts running thin. So if the market really wants to hurt people, just runs through all these guys, stops, and then give the bulls a fake sense of, strength, and then blows through that as well. So that is the one probability. Now, what do I have to add a little bit more confluence to this is the point and figure chart. So the point and figure chart is our destination map. It's not a road map, it's a destination map. So it tells you when there's gaps, where the market is going to look and hunt for liquidity. That's all that it's trying to do. And if we look at our current impulse to the downside, okay, I'm going to zoom in there. I've got the visible volume range loaded on the screen. So I just want to look at all the volume from there all the way down. You can see that around 103, there's that potential for price to push to that, grab the liquidity because there's very low volume there, push down. And then there's at 108, the same thing. And funny enough, we do have gaps there, and we have gaps there, and we have gaps where we are right now from that point of view. So the trade in harmony with the trend means that where you're at right now, you can short, but then the trade in harmony with what the larger time frame is saying, that 100K should be support at least for a little while, means that there is the room for buying in this zone. So I'm going to go swing long here. You scalp this short because it's too tight. You've already got your position. Swing long there. And if we do get this little move, the market will respect this 45-degree angle like it did it on there. Then you know you're trending. So things need to happen in order for us to say it is over. Okay. So the market has said something. We shouldn't give up on it. But it is worthwhile to know that you don't necessarily have to be right. It's planning for these things to make money regardless. Okay. So I see there's a lot of 666s. And there's some hopium in the market. And good morning to you as well, my friend. Okay. Now, the next part of what we wanted to talk about. Let's finish up on the short date. So the Bitcoin short. Let's bring this back. There we go. The Bitcoin short date. From where we're at right now, what I will do, the only management that is needed for the Bitcoin short is to move stop above entry. Now, if you entered anywhere lower, don't move stop to there because the market could bounce, grab liquidity around 109 and maybe even wick, take everybody out. Closing prices is where we do our analysis on levels and support and resistance levels, but we can wick and take out liquidity and then be on our way. The market can do those crazy things. So you want to hide your stop. So I'm hiding my stop around these levels. Well, I can't anymore because this idiot closed his short. Okay, just as we entered. So I'm going to have to retake it. So I'm on standby again because I need to now get in on the move. So happens, make stupid mistakes. Okay, it's one of those things, right? So there we are, Bitcoin short. Everything is updated and everybody's on the same page, I would imagine. Now, let's move on. Critical support levels for altcoins that we need to have a look at. Now, just like I've explained on Bitcoin, you want to have certain support levels hold in order for there to still be an impulse, more higher highs. So if we head over to Ethereum, and I'm going to look at Ethereum on the 4-hour time frame for you guys, can you see that what we've done now is we've established a trend. So in order for us to say that Ethereum on the higher time frame has got more upside, let's go to the weekly time frame. What level do we need to reclaim? And for Ethereum, that will be 3,800. If this ends up being a ginormous wick candle and we close or just there or thereabouts, that could be seen as a really bullish sign. And then from that point onwards, we can rebuild the position back at 3.9 for more higher highs. I mean, we were bullish on Ethereum. It did have some really good upside. But it's if, when, and buts at the moment. If we close below 3,500 in the end of this week, the reality is that we established a bearish trend already, and then there's just more continuation going to be coming our way. And 2,700 for Ethereum becomes a reality. Solana. Now, just like that, Solana, I had Solana bags from way down low, $13, sold at $240. If you act from a point of strength, you don't need to take compromised decisions. If you wait for the market to show your weakness, you're always going to have a compromised event to try and get out of it. Now, yes, 240 looked amazing when we were sitting at 250 or even 269, people would typically question why. I'm not in it to try a why sell. So the key here, guys, is with anything, if you're trying time tops and bottoms, you want the guy to tell you it's going to go to 300 and that's it, not a cent higher. Look elsewhere. The channel's never going to be able to provide that info for you. That's unrealistic. 240 is nearest as good as just calling the top, in my opinion, as well. And where we're at right now is very simple. The critical support that we needed to hold for Ethereum was, for Solana, was $200, and we've lost that as well. So now $200 will be turning into resistance at some stage. So you can rebalance. If we push back up, use that as an opportunity to get out, just like with Ethereum. And then the support area, where can things go if it's bad? Well, support for Solana is right where it's at right now. You can see, let me just take away some of my chart artistry. There we go. You can see where we're at right now. This entire range had price revolve around these levels. You see there's a reaction, rejection, support, and so forth. So where we're at right now, we want to try and see if it stays above around 150, 160. If it does, that's okay. If you're still in profit and you think there's going to be more that I want another move, that's okay. But yet again, if that is the case, guys, your impulse suggests that we cannot overlap with one. We cannot do that. So you want the market, maybe this is a shakeout. You want the market to close strong in the end of the week in order for that to remain the case. Because as soon as we start overlapping, it isn't an impulse, guys, and it is just part of this correction, and it's going to continue to the downside, or best case scenario, sideways for a little bit longer until it establishes another trend. Okay, so that's the reality here, guys. Ethereum, Solana, 200 you want to reclaim, then you can think big, or minimum you want to stay above 160, 150. Nearest makes no difference. I mean, 175. Let's move it in there. 175. These are psychological numbers, guys. So that's why it looks like I'm loosey with this. But the reality is that's the support area. You kind of want to see price close above, because that's the handshake. That's when the deal is met for the continuation. Okay. The next coin I said I will look at is XRP. I'm just quickly going. Yes, XRP. Now, XRP has got massive following. Let me just take a sip of water while that one loads. The first thing I want to point out to you guys is look at the liquidation wick. Like the other ones, it had a massive wick, but we traded in the wick already. So for me, the buy, if I want to try and get in on this, still means that XRP needs to fall a little bit more. There's still demand needing to get excited or enticed to enter the market, and that will probably then happen around $1.90. Statistically speaking, that's all we do with trading technical analysis is we look at the stats. Statistically, that's the most probable buy. Statistically, this was the sell. I mean, we had strong bearish divergence. I applied my strong bearish divergence fib, and that was it. Go above the red line and you can dream bigger. But the second time round, we didn't go above the red line. There we did go above the red line, so we dreamt bigger. So it's simple. It's simple. Statistically, the odds are in the bear's favor right now. So we want this thing to reclaim. Now, if it reclaims $2.60, then we could argue that this is a shakeout buy, and potentially we could make a higher high. But from where we're at right now, any trading below $2.60, it's bad. We're going to try and look for $1.90 as a support level. If it doesn't hold, your next support sits down there at 60 cents. It's going to be bad. It's going to be brutal. Alts have a tendency to really destroy your hope come the end of the market cycle. You know, when this anger turns into depression, let me just do this. When anger turns into depression, that's when the alts kick in and really hurt you. Okay? You think they can't go down any lower, you know, Don't be mistaken, because they can and they will. Okay. Why? Because there's hope. Hope's the last thing to die, guys. And the thing about complacency where we're at right now is that there's one-hit wonders like jelly. And if the market isn't bullish, clearly, how is it that this thing can 5x in a week? These are the kind of coins that blind people to what is obviously there. Simple test. Let's have a look at gold. You don't own any gold. You're not invested in gold. So it's easy for you to do what? To have an unbiased opinion. Is this now still going up or is it down? You know, there you have it. Where's the RSI trending? It's on the bearish side of things. I would rather short gold than long it. Things that go up, go up. This was gold going up. It kept on going up until it didn't. All right. So the sentiment can sometimes be blinded by these kind of coins. So coins like Jelly flying. We had a couple of those in the past 2 weeks where we're doing really well. And there's still potential more coming. And that's for later down the stream that I want to show you guys that. Okay. So I'm going to head over to the comments real quick. Let's see where you guys are at. And then we will continue on with the alts. See, there's already a few questions in there. Well, Altex giving me a nice statement. Profit is profit. That was a solid trade, yes. But remember, the key to successful trading is risk to reward ratio. So what we tend to want to do is we want to, you know, especially if you're on and I do this, I'm guilty of this, you know, when you're on a bad luck run, every time you take a trade, you need to make, if that is X, you need to make at least 2X in profit. It doesn't matter, you know, if you short profit the thing, come the next losing trade that loses you money, okay, minus X, loses your money. It takes away the previous profit. It literally deletes the successful trades off the table. So you want to make sure you always be patient enough with your trades to make sure that the probabilities do kick in over time. That is how most traders, after they've done losing, just losing, they become break-even traders because they're still scared of losing when there's gains. So they take profit too soon and they end up hurting themselves. Okay. NFT Shooter Dan, good morning to you, my friend. Should I go long or short in Bitcoin, Elvis? Okay, so Elvis, I think I've answered that, but let's give you guys the crypt notes on Bitcoin real quick. Statistically, statistically 100K, you can see there has been a major support level. So if you want to take a trade right now on the 4-hour and lower time frames, wait for something bullish, because we do have that imbalance. The market sold off relatively quick and there should be an overlap at minimum. You don't want to add short right here where it's at right now because momentum is stalling a bit. We're at a critical level. So what would I do? Would I go short right now? No. But I will do is go short once the market presents me with hidden bearish divergence. And this is very easy to see on the chart. When is the last time we made a high that sold off? There. Okay, there it is. So I'll wait for the RSI. Don't look at anything else. Wait for the RSI to go make a higher high. And then you want to make sure that price has not gone above that level or that level, because then you're in an impulse. So anywhere at 104, 106, maybe even 108, give or take, like I said, that will be the sweet spot zone for the continuation. Patience is key though, okay? Let's see what else we've got. What's my thoughts on AIA pump? Well, let's quickly go to AIA and see what the market is showing us. Now, when you have crazy pumps like this, it's the same as the jelly pump. If you're in it, it's an amazing feeling. But the rule with any of these things is when it's fast, it won't last. When it's slow, let it grow. Bulls like to climb the steps. Bears jump out the window. So when you have something like this, it is in most cases the higher probability of the same thing that's playing out. There's this low liquidity. I always want to say low liquidity in the sense that there's not a lot of people taking the other side of this, okay? Which means you can easily manipulate price up. Because if the supply is locked in, if a little bit of buying drives supplies up, everybody's market cap grows, everybody thinks they make money, and then it just moves back down. Because as soon as the volume kicks in, people are selling to the pump. So that is typically what will happen here. So for me, do I think that there's more? For there to have been more, price needs to stay above the 23.6 FIP level. That's the simplest way of looking at it. Stay above that 23.6 level, then there's more. Yes, you can reload, but typically then $2.50 will be the area of resistance. Reclaim that, yeah, then things can change again. Remember now, more candles gives you more data. I can only look at what we have right now. Okay, 23.6, that's the key. Now let's have a look at the previous pump. Yeah, 23.6, you lose at 23.6, it's typically over. Okay, so that's the key there. So that's my thoughts on the AIA pump. Jerry, Nick, let's quickly have a look. Please can you help me with some funding for crypto? No, I don't do that, buddy. We're not a charity. We're frenemies. Okay. Let's see what else we've got here. I thought I saw a cup and handle for AIA, but it's all such vast manipulation. It's true. But a cup and handle, my friend, has to have certain things to it. A cup and handle needs to have hidden bullish divergence when it retraces. So in order for a cup and handle to happen, you need a little bit more. Now, I did a cup and handle markup 2 days ago, and I can't remember which coin it was. Oh, let's use gold. Maybe gold would probably be the easiest thing to cup and handle right now. It's not going to be on a higher time frame, but the same rules apply. Okay. See what I mean by cup and handle? That RSI needs to do what? So you've got your impulse, your 1, your 2, your 3, your 4. Okay. Now you want to have hidden bullish divergence. Now there's a divergence there, divergence there. So be it that is the retrace or that is the retrace, it's sometimes open for debate. But in essence, you do have your hidden bullish divergence. The RSI has retraced. Now, you also want to delete your hidden bearish divergence, which means from this point to wherever price is, it made a higher high on both price and the RSI. That's a cup and handle. Then you can start saying, okay, that's going to happen. So you need those things. If you don't have that in that sequence, you typically just kind of looking for the banana, the banana coin that's going to break out without knowing that the conditions, the underlying driving force that's there isn't there. So remember that. Okay. So will I say AIA has got a cup and handle? No, I won't say that. You're going to have to be very creative to try and get that. Let's see what else we've got. Let's see. Could you please show your settings for RSI? It's the same standard. There's nothing to it. I just use a simple RSI. Pause the screen, copy the settings, and there you have it. Okay. Let's see. Awesome. Thanks for the compliment, Terry. You're a star, my friend. Okay. Let's see what else we have. PLSX update after a long time, please. Okay. Now, with these, I said it's never been bullish for me. There were certain levels that needed to hold. So let's quickly see where did I put my PLSX chart. I'm going to scroll a little bit now, and then if I can't find it, I'll look for it at the end because I want to continue on. There we go. I've got it. Okay, so key here is weekly time frame because that's where we start. Level to hold, level to sell, level to sell. So for now, it is where it is. Level to hold means I don't want this thing to close where it's at right now. So the end of the week, if we're still where we're at right now, the chance that we're going to go visit liquidity down here becomes very high probability-wise. If this can end up being a blue candle and you can reclaim this support, I mean, at that value 1964, then there's a good chance that we will probably go and visit worst case scenario or best case scenario, depending on how you look at it. The imbalance is left at 26 and 33, thereabout. What I do know, though, is, guys, and typically with these kind of things, when you have strong momentum to the downside, when it breaks, it's normally a quick move. So PLSX is moving like that. Everything is either violently up or violently, viciously down. So when it breaks it, it's normally a big move. Okay, so any of these steep momentum breaks, okay, it's normally a vicious move. You can see that. Normally a vicious move. So break that momentum where it's at right now. You could get a big move quick to the upside. Do I want to hodl or invest in this right now? I mean, I've got it. I don't need to invest in this. I did my sacrificing way back. But yes, for me, it's not trending. It's not a bullish. This is just hunting for liquidity. It's forming an accumulation. Stay above that level, start building a base, and bring some common sense to the charts that I can TA from. Then we go. Then I'm there. Okay, so there you have that. Hope that helps. Now, let's see what else we've got. What's my thoughts on Cardano? No, look, I am biased on Cardano because I'm heavily invested there. I chose the wrong horse in the previous bull market where I would have made more money with Solana, in all fairness. I get shit wrong, guys. So Cardano for me sits in a tough place because you can see the wick, you can see price trading in it. It's gonna go and hunt for liquidity. It's done. It's done. It didn't do anything this cycle that was noteworthy or newsworthy to a point. I know I was listening on a podcast where Charles Hodgkinson was saying there's something big happening on ADA, but there was like a few hundred people in the podcast. So it tells you that even if it was good news, it wasn't enough people to take a bite of that good news and do something with it. So it is what it is. These are hype-driven moves, guys. Trump said ADA, fast. It's back now. Okay, it's just the nature of it. So it's up. Long term, yes, we've done an accumulation. We've consolidated above that. So this is probably still part of the consolidation. And it's probably going to be like Ethereum-ish, when Ethereum finally does become very bullish, this will inevitably inherit some of that bullishness. And then maybe go to $2 for that matter. But from where it's at right now, the odds that it's going to go 40 cents is much higher than that. Okay. It fell below that impulse level, that line where you don't want it to cross. So, okay. So let's see what else we have. Would you short ENSO here? Let's quickly go to ENSO. I actually want to long the thing. So let's go to weekly time frame is irrelevant. Daily time frame is starting to give you a picture that it is still selling off and it's still bearish as hell. But as soon as you start moving into the 4-hour time frame, which I think is the only realistic time frame you can use for it right now, it's not there. What we've done is we've had an accumulation. We've jumped above that area. So we've turned what was lost back into support. So I'm keen to see what it does. I'm not longing it just yet. I'm keen to see what it does here. And I want to try and look for a first wave to appear. Now, this could be wave 1, could be. But what I'm basically trying to say is, let's put it like this. I'm looking for something like this to appear, which then can turn into this, so that I can drive this thing to higher levels again. And once I have That's where the area where we'll try and bet on that, which would be on these highs. Once I have that, that's where I would try and bet, saying that it's not going to go lower, because if it was going to go up, it won't make a lower low. It's as simple as that. That's where it becomes very simple. Now, to short this thing, the same thing needs to happen. Now, I'm going to go back to the 4 hour. I need to go to the 4 hour time frame quick. Now, to short the thing, what you want to see is hidden bearish divergence. Check. And then you want to have the statistical zone marked out, which sits there, $1.30, $1.20. That's statistically when hidden bearish divergence kick in. So would I short? Yes, I would short, but I would short from 32 to 45. And your targets was 31 to 33. There you go. You've got it nailed, Tony. Okay, you mentioned at the beginning of the stream our tokens with jelly potentials. Yes, and now let's have a look at that. Done all the comments. Let's have a look at jelly potentials. Okay. Now, you might not like the tokens. Remember, it's not for us to date them. It's just to trade them, okay? So let's quickly have a look at some jelly potentials. Now, the thing with jelly potentials is that when you try and spot them beforehand, they're not going to necessarily look good. So let's first do the jelly study so you can see what it is I mean by that. Now, what did jelly do? Long term, it's been trending to the upside. So I probably need to go to, say, a weekly time frame. We had a launch. We had an initial pump. We came back, tested the launch lows, and then we ran. Like we always do. You know, that's what we want to try and look for. So the coins that we have need to kind of have that already down pat. If we tested range lows, from that point onwards, we can move on. Then, only after then you know that there's long accumulation happening in there. So if we go to some of the memes, because those are the ones now currently that does the crazy X's. So you don't need to almost try and say, but I want the DeFi coin to do that. You know, it's just not happening right now. So if we have a look at those, where we're at right now, and the DEX tokens, you know, stuff like a Trump coin, you can see it doesn't look the same. So buying something just because it's cheap is probably bad. Yes, you can argue if you bought the bottom of the wick, you're up 300%, but it's inevitable. Melania, same kind of thing. So it's not just buying them cheap. It's understanding what it is that you want to see. You want to see the launch, you want to see the test, and then you want to see the low. So if you go and have a look at where we are with something like Brett, or PEPE, that was really strong at this stage. What have we done? PEPE. We're trading below the wick. We're moving into this area. So long term, you're probably only going to grab this day. So PEPE is not a really good candidate for something like that. Okay. When you look at Brett, let's load Brett. Okay. So it doesn't have all the data. So bad example of something that I want to load. Let's have a look at Fartcoin. So here's Fartcoin. Now, farts are funny. People like farts. So where you're at right now, you had your launch. You had your pump, and you want this thing to stay right there. Can't lose that level. So your next coin, Fartcoin, would be one of those that does qualify. Now, if you go onto a 4-hour time frame for Fartcoin, what are you seeing here? We had the liquidation wick. Okay, we're sitting with that liquidation wick setup sitting right there at around 50%. Now, I just said to you guys with Bitcoin on the weekly, if we trade below the wick, we'll probably go and fill the wick and some. True. But remember, there's a failure rate to everything. And what is on the 4-hour doesn't necessarily mean that the weekly represents that. And it could be that there still moves to the downside coming. And rightfully so, because guess what? There's nothing bullish here yet. But the RSI is giving us our first pivot. So if we do go make a lower low and reclaim this level, there's some serious upside for Fartcoin coming our way. That would be my first indication. That's it. And in the end of the day, once that is there, then we'll take things level by level, because then you want this thing to start breaking momentum, retail-based trend lines, and so forth. But Altcoin does have a high potential for that. Okay. Another one. Let's have a look at another one. Okay. Well, we've already done ENSO, so no, I can't use ENSO again. Let's quickly have a look at another one. There's one more that I want to share with you guys. Just get to my tags. Give me a sec. Almost there. Scrolling. Okay. Turbos. Okay. Weekly time frame, where we're at. We're at that launch, that real dump low where support was created. So if it wants to hold, now's the time to hold. Desperate times. It's the cheapest point to buy. Because if it falls below that level, it's over. If you scale this then back to the 4-hour time frame, what do you have? Even stronger than the Altcoin, stayed above the wick. 50% of that wick, we're in the right zone for price right now. You're looking for strong bullish divergence to appear, and then you wanted to reclaim the initial pivot. So what do we have? We've got RSI turning up already, price making lower lows. Once that is done, you will start regaining these levels. So you will hold on to these support levels. And then, yeah, let's see how this thing can pump, because the meme narrative has this die and pump, you know, that kind of thing. So that is important. And this then puts you where? Just as a reminder, where does this put you, these kind of buys? It puts you in JELLYJELLY. Let's quickly load JELLYJELLY. It puts you in JELLYJELLY there. Now, do I think that they're going to make 10,000 X's? I don't, guys. We don't know what the future is going to bring. Bitcoin could go to 108, but it takes 2 weeks. And then that kind of calm gives us the momentum that we need. Because remember, JELLYJELLY, if you were in it, you also got lucky. Why? Because it was in a pump when everything was dumping. So money fled to it. It just exaggerated the move. That's why JELLYJELLY is down 62% from all-time highs. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, there you have that. Let's quickly see what else. KGEN. Now, KGEN was high on my on our radar a while ago. We're going to quickly go to the higher time frame. Let's look at that. And it still looks good, because as the rule goes, launch wick, if you stay above that, you're going to do what? You're going to fill the wick and some. So KGEN is a really good example of just that. Now, if we have a look at the 4-hour time frame, what have we done? We had our pump. We're testing the lows, roughly there. And what we want to see, though, is this thing starts stepping up levels. Now, let me just take a sip of water. So this thing will start testing up critical levels, critical areas where resistance now lives. And your job here, guys, is not to try and predict the bottom. This is where traders mess up. We want to buy low, sell high. So you think of it like a supermarket, or if a BMW dealership, if the M3 goes on sale 30% less, it's a bargain, go grab it. But that kind of thinking doesn't work in the financial markets. When it goes down, there's something wrong. You don't want to buy the bargain. You rather want to pay more and get in on the move that's going to give you more. Buy high, sell even higher. Sell low or short low and cash out even lower. Okay, that's the reality. That's what you're looking for. So with KGEN, I think it's going to be big, and you can preemptively, you know, if you want to buy in on this. Now, I mean, the buddy on the SO5 hidden bullish divergence gave you the buy zone right there. But for me personally, trading this thing with margin will happen once we're above this level, because then the move is going to be quick and violent. I don't want to sit around and deal with chop. I want to be in the move when it goes. Okay, so there you have that. Right. Guys, that's all we have time for. 45 minutes in. That's it. NEWT. I'm going to quickly just, I'll bite on that one because we discussed NEWT a while ago. Let's just quickly see. It's not quite there yet, but the same applies, Dennis. It is on its way. And what you have right there now is not any real harmony with the RSI just yet. So probably wait for a little bit more pullback. Won't just grab NEWT just yet. Okay. There you have it. Thanks so much. All the other coins, I mean, guys, we're running out of time. If you want, what you need to do is just join my Discord. Okay. Join the Discord. I'm loading up the latest stats in there. We've been nailing it in here on the right side of the market most of the times. You don't need to take my word for it. Take the followers' word for it, or the guys in the group. And then from that point onwards, I'll see you again tomorrow afternoon, because then we're going to have Joe Matoshi here on the stream. He's in I think the East Coast, so that's only going to happen. The stream is going to be quite late, so make sure. He's got an interesting way of doing a time analysis using Ikimoku Cloud. So I'm quite keen on learning from the guy on how he does that, which gives him dates, future dates that he trades towards. So it's going to be an interesting stream. So keep an eye on that. And then back on Friday on this time slot, where we will look at how the trades and the analysis played out from what was said today. Cheers, guys. And always hit the like, hit the subscribe, share the video, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.